recent days, Republican Senate leader Mitch McConnell and GOP presidential candidate Pawlenty both restating their opposition to raising the federal debt ceiling without making major cuts to our deficit. President Obama warns if the United States does not raise the ceiling, it could, and I'm quoting here, plunge the world economy back into a recession. Of course, that could be a nightmare for Wall Street, but now political analysts say members of the GOP are facing a tough choice on the ceiling because while Tea Partiers expect deep cuts, Republican lawmakers also need Democrats on board to pass those cuts. With us now, Fox News political analyst and the editor of the conservative news magazine, The National Review, Rich Lowry. And Rich, the Tea Partiers appear to be making a stand here. You know, they don't care if the government can't pay its bills because they don't really like the government. They want less government.
Sure, they want less government. They really want to address the underlying cause of the debt and the reason why we have to raise the debt ceiling serially almost on an annual basis in this country. So they want real spending restraint. And I would expect them, Trace, at the end of the day to be able to get it. The key guy to watch here is Mitch McConnell, because there's no way that Democrats can pass a so-called clean debt ceiling increase. That means just increasing the debt ceiling without addressing any other fiscal issues, because even Democrats are going to vote against that. Vulnerable Democrats in the Senate won't vote for that. So you need McConnell to bring Republicans along, and McConnell's not going to come along unless he gets substantial spending cuts.
And that's the question I have. I mean, if you're saying this thing's going to get done in the end and it might be ugly, the question is, Rich, who gives what? I mean, the Tea Party Republicans are saying we have to have these drastic cuts. That's the end game here for them. So who gives what to get to a happy medium?
I think the President of the United States is going to have to cede to them on serious spending cuts, or this isn't going to happen. And this is an issue, Trace, where I really think politically Republicans are in a much stronger position than they were over the debate over the so-called continuing resolution, because their leverage point was a government shutdown. And if you looked at all the polls, the public really did not want a government shutdown. About 80% of people in every poll opposed a government shutdown. This is different. People hate the idea of raising the debt ceiling. You can even throw out all the scary consequences of not raising the debt ceiling, and they still oppose raising the debt ceiling. So I think the idea that we only do it in exchange for serious spending restraint is going to get traction with the public, and Republicans are going to get a lot of what they want here, I expect.
Serious spending cuts, Rich, with no tax increases, because that's also been made very clear.
Correct. McConnell will not go along with tax increases. He wants some Medicare element here, partly because Medicare is such a big driver of fiscal problems, also partly to try to get some political cover for the Ryan plan, which is obviously, as everyone knows, on Medicare is in some treacherous political territory. And again, I don't think this thing gets out of the Senate or happens without McConnell signing on.
If for some reason this doesn't get done, are the Republicans, are they playing with fire here, Rich? Because, you read the kind of doomsday scenarios here, and it looks like from a lot of accounts that it could be bad for America.
Well, ultimately, you're going to need to raise the debt ceiling. But the fact is, Trace, the federal government and the Treasury Secretary have a lot of money in their bags of tricks. We heard from Treasury Secretary Geithner earlier this year that we really need to do this by May, or all sorts of disastrous consequences would follow. Now it's been pushed out to August, and it wouldn't surprise me if it could be even pushed out a little further than that. But eventually you're going to have to do it, which is why I think there will be a deal.
Fox News political analyst Rich Lowry. Rich, good to see you. Thanks,
Trace. God bless our troops.
Yeah, exactly. Happy Memorial Day to them. Rich, thank you. One of the most successful runs